So we have finished book 4 of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, and they just keep getting bigger and better. And from what I've been told, they continue to get bigger. So we'll be moving on to book 5 soon. This one, The Gate of the Feral Gods, another crazy, wacky, absolutely zany adventure in the lives of Carl and Princess Donut. In this level of the dungeon, everybody is in these like bubbles, but they're actually more like a snow globe. Like think more like a dome. It's not a completely round bubble, but it's like more dome-ish. In those bubbles, there are 4 different quadrants. There's the air quadrant, there's land, there's a tomb. Think like Indiana Jones or the Mummy type deal. And then there is the sea. In each quadrant, there's a castle, and they have to basically take over the castle or claim the throne room in each quadrant, and then the bubble pops once they've done that, and then the stairwells appear and they'll be able to move on to the next level. But there's only so many people per bubble, so they need to like team up with the people who are inside their bubble, but they're stuck in there with a lot of like low level crawlers. They're gonna have to find people to help each other through this thing because there's different people that seem to be spawned in each quadrant for where they start. When Carl, Donut, and Katia come into this new level, they are in like the desert area, and they're just basically walking through the desert being blasted with sand until they get to this town where these dromedarians live, which are like these camel type people that walk on 2 legs. They get there and they meet up with Mordecai, and they go and they stay in this inn/tavern called Toe. Then they have to kind of figure out their game plan of like what they're going to do. And the Gate of the Feral Gods is actually this kind of like artifact, and what it can be used for is to summon basically a feral god. I mean, the artifact is actually kind of a portal where you can teleport to somewhere else to a specific time and location. But as soon as that gate opens, a feral god will get through, and they're like basically immortal and just way super high level and can't be killed. So they will just cause complete destruction if they're brought into the world. And so somehow someone might come into having this artifact, and what kind of chaos will be released? Well, quite a bit of chaos. Carl, Donut, and Katia, the first thing they kind of want to get into and take care of is like the air quadrant. And in the air quadrant, you have these like warrior gnomes in this somewhat like floating city that's in what seems to be like airships. But there's also like these floating houses. They have these kind of like, I guess, hot air balloons, but they're enchanted and they kind of float everywhere. And they have different kinds of planes and vehicles, and they bomb the other cities and whatnot. But there's these 2 cities in the area, and they have a kind of collateral, so there's some sort of agreement between the gnomes and the dromedarians, and the other city is like the Bactrians, I believe is what they're called. As the dungeon crawlers progress through these things, something may happen to one or both of the collaterals that causes the gnomes to come in and start destroying everything. And so most of the dungeon crawlers too are all like lower level, except there is someone else in there with them that could be kind of dangerous that they do encounter. So that also comes into play with the story, along with the Gate of the Feral Gods that they probably don't really want to use, but they may be forced into a scenario where they have to. And there's all kinds of like crazy monsters too. Like, so the tomb is this tomb of Answer, who was this guy who had his wife buried with him. And that wife is Quetzalcoatlus, and she died in there and is now like a ghost. And then you have some of the factions of people are trying to give her shape in like an actual body form so that some of the shapeshifters that are around in this world can touch her and then have those powers of Quetzalcoatlus. So you have that where you have the NPCs trying to do that. So like you have that chaotic element of it. Then you have this underwater level where I guess the castle's like on this old submarine that's protected by machines, but there's also all kinds of crazy like monsters of the deep down there, and it's absolutely insane. So you just have like pure chaos happening on each of the levels. And then like the tomb gets flooded because it seems like you're supposed to do each quadrant in a sequence, but it's not really specified like what that sequence is. It's another one of those nail biters of like, will they be able to do this? Will they be able to get through all this crap? And then you have these like feral gods too. So they are just like amped up, think berserker enraged kind of gods. But there's also like little feral NPCs too. So those ones are also insane as well and just chaotic. So they're having to deal with that on this level. And it seems like a lot of the stuff that's on this level is more overpowered than it used to be in the past, according to Mordecai. And so you have Carl and Donut just trying to like level up and get through stuff. Carl still has his Dungeon Anarchist cookbook, so he's trying to kind of do what he thinks is right, but he's also kind of absolutely insane, bonkers crazy, which you kind of have to be to survive any of the chaos that is going on in this dungeon. They get through the air quadrant. It's all kind of connected. Then there's this like big sandcastle that they have to go into. Inside the sandcastle, you can only get in there in certain times of day. You have to like electrify this thing when the sandstorm hits, or sorry, when lightning hits, and then a door appears, and then you only have a certain amount of time, and like that's where this mad mage is, and he has a piece of the thing that's the artifact that's the gate of the feral gods, this and the other. So they go in there, and then there's this like boss that is basically sentient ooze, and if it touches anything, like you can't let it touch you or you just will die because it's way overpowered in that. And so what are they going to do about that? You have the water level, you have these crazy like shark dopuses. There's like this huge one, the mama, and then there's all these little babies that are like in her mouth and stuff. And it's just pure bloody destruction, chaos. It's funny, it's also emotional. There's a little bit of romance in it. Like it has it all. Action, adventure, emotion. The characters are great. They're funny. They're quirky. These books are such page turners. Super stoked to continue on this series. I've been flying through this. I've said this before in a few videos. Like I can't remember the last time I've been reading a series this fast, especially like with this, how big the books are getting, because they're getting pretty large. If you like fantasy series that are weird and funny and quirky and have that like RPG, D&D kind of vibe going on, Dungeon Crawler Carl series is amazing. And I can't stop yelling its praises. It's great. So if that sounds good to you, maybe check it out. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.